Welcome to the Daily Record Spin. I'm your host, Jimmy Clements. Joining me today, as always, is the co-host of the show, my brother, Danny Okey. Danny, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good today. It's been a really chill work day, which is always really fun. Nice day outside, so got to just like run some errands and take a walk and not really do any work. So, so it's actually been pretty fun. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good day so far. I do work later tonight, but I'm just having a chill morning. I had the last couple days off, so feeling rested and solid right now.
That's nice. Very nice.
Okay, so we are here to discuss sort of the state of the music industry right now. We really struggle to come up with a topic for this pod today because, as you can see out there, it's pretty bleak. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot happening. We were blessed by the content gods last year, where we were honestly playing catch up all year because there was just so much music. And this year is like the polar opposite, where we're like just trying to drag music out of the crevices and forgotten corners of the industry right now. And so we just thought we would start today by just talking about the state of things, why we think that is, like where we're expecting things to go from here. Are we concerned about the state of the music industry? I think we are going to hit all of that in this first block today. We're also going to get to, Danny reached out on our social media and asked people what their 10 out of 10 albums were. So we're going to talk about any of those that we're able to speak to, and then we'll maybe list off some other ones that we haven't heard that our fans are really into. And then we're also going to hit a little preview of the summer music slate. So we'll get to that shortly. But let's just start today by talking about the state of the industry. I'll open the floor to you with your opening comments, but whatever you want to say about this.
So, I would pose the question, like, why do we think that music has been so dull this year? But I think the obvious answer is just that we had an embarrassment of riches in 2024, and it's just everybody's on break this year, right? I think that's kind of the obvious answer, but I do feel like this is maybe one of the biggest lulls we've had in a first and second quarter in recent memory. Really, I can't really remember a year, at least in this decade, that has been this slow for, I guess, like major pop releases, right? I think a caveat that we have to present with this podcast is that we mostly talk about the major pop releases. And, I'm sure there's a lot of indie music coming out that's fantastic, but in terms of the big pop stuff, I do feel like this is an exceptionally large lull than recent years.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yes, it is true that we're just kind of waiting around because so many people dropped last year. But I also think, and I do want to talk about this briefly, this is a sea change right now in the industry as a whole. A lot of the legacy acts from our youth are kind of tapering off or not hitting the same heights that they used to. And meanwhile, we've had up until last year a dearth of young talent that are filling the void. And then we got an exceptional, for lack of a better term, rookie class of the music industry last year, but they all just dropped last year or the year before. And so we're just waiting for their next projects in the case of Chapel Roan or Sabrina Carpenter or, Benson Boone is coming out this summer, but Ray, all of these people have sort of jumped onto the scene. And we're just kind of waiting for their next thing. And meanwhile, there's just not enough to fill the void there. It'll be a cool year, I think, to discover some more indie projects, some things that are, a little bit farther back in terms of the public eye. But yeah, as far as major marquee releases that are being labeled or that are being pushed by labels, that are being heavily marketed, this is a pretty rough season right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I've even found some projects that I really love this year from probably people I never would have listened to before had there not been a lull. So that's been kind of nice, I suppose. But I also want to pose the question to you, why is it, of the stuff that has been released? So it's not like we haven't had any releases this year. Obviously we've had, Lady Gaga's Mayhem was probably kind of the biggest one this year. Also, the Tate McRae album came out earlier this year. There has been some stuff. The Weeknd, obviously, dropped Hurry Up Tomorrow early in this year. Have any of those records had any staying power?
No, I think within the gay community, perhaps Mayhem has done pretty well. But in terms of I
think the tour is doing well.
Yeah, the tour is doing very well. I mean, she just added LA dates, which I just found out about. So
yeah,
kind of. But but yeah, there in terms of chart placement, I mean, the only song that's really done well is "Die with a Smile," which
Die with a Smile
was a release before the album came out. So
right,
it's
has been
weird
on the Hot 100 for God knows how long, right?
Yeah.
But it goes into kind of one of the main topics I know we wanted to get to today, which is that all of the main charting success we're seeing in 2025 is just left over from 2024. And Die with a Smile is a huge example of this, because I really thought when Mayhem came out that Abracadabra was going to have this huge moment. It charted very briefly, and then it fell right off. I think it's still streaming fairly well, but in terms of the charts, it's not charting very high. I don't think it's been in the top 10 since the week it came out. And I'm just confused why Die with a Smile is still the one that is carrying the legs for this album when there's so many better songs off the album, including Abracadabra, which is a single that can't seem to get any kind of staying power despite its music video and streaming success.
Yeah, I wonder how much that speaks to Bruno Mars versus Lady Gaga. They're both built on that song. So
well, and it's also, Die with a Smile is really like adult contemporary, right?
It is.
It's not really like a pop song, so it's possible that it just appeals to a wider audience than Abracadabra does, and maybe that's why.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Anyone over 40 probably is maybe not loving Abracadabra.
Yeah. For sure.
Versus Die with a Smile is their shit. They're like, oh, this is a song.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
But there's also like Benson Boone has released more music. And nowhere to be found. We're still doing Beautiful Things, right? Beautiful
Things. It's tough. Benson Boone's in a tough moment because he's just kind of doing the exact same thing he's been doing for a year now. And I'm getting like, oh, are you a one-trick pony? Like,
I think he is probably.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I wish he would try to branch out. I understand you have to seize your moment. I get it. Yeah. But in a way where Sabrina always felt fresh in everything that she was doing, Benson is feeling very stale.
Yes, completely agree.
So I kind of need more from him if he really wants to be a pop star. Because
I also in the case of Tate McRae felt like so close to what, at least for me personally, was a bit of a breakthrough for her as an artist. I felt like really leaning into the Y2K pop sound was a smart business move in terms of chart success. But even she's not really had any kind of staying power with So Close to What. I think, again, Sports Car is doing well streaming numbers, but it's not really charting at all. Yeah. No one's really talking about it anymore. I mean, she really just probably tanked her whole career by doing a collab with Morgan Wallen.
Tough, dude. And I'm sure the label made her, which is terrible decision. Whack, bro.
And I don't understand it. Like, I get that, like, we're trying to appeal to a wider audience. She's still trying to make a name for herself and yada yada yada. But tell me, where does the fan overlap occur there? No one that's listening to Morgan Wallen is listening to Tate McRae and vice versa.
And what it
doesn't make any sense.
What you do as an artist when you agree to collaborations like that is you dampen your own brand, because now people can't figure out what you are. You're just like dancing in all of these different wheelhouses, and you're just trying to figure out who you are. It doesn't work. People need something they can cling on to right away. It's so important in the music industry because there's so much noise and you have to break through somehow. And when she's going from being Britney Spears to being a ride along for Morgan Wallen, it's just like,
doesn't make any sense.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. It literally does not make any sense. And what you were just talking about, that, the Tate McRae brand has always been kind of her biggest, is she going to make it, because of the fact that she didn't really know who she was. And I think the label has put in everything trying to figure out how we can market her. And I think, in my opinion, I feel like they found it with doing this kind of early 2000s pop stuff and kind of making her the quote unquote next Britney. I felt like we landed on something and then tossed it aside to do a country song with Morgan Wallen. I'm perplexed. to say the
It's
least.
tough. I feel like she's 80% of the way there. This album to me feels like the one emails I don't send or didn't.
Emails I can't send. Yeah.
Emails I can't send. It feels like that project. If she can come out with a short and sweet afterwards, where
That's
it's
a really
like
good comparison.
now my brand is cemented.
Yes.
Then I'm all in. And I want to give artists that time to figure that out because it's so hard. It's very hard. Especially when these artists are so young. Like I'm learning who I am right now at 31. You know what I mean? Trying to figure that out at 19, 20, 21, 22. I can't possibly imagine that. I was swimming in influences and breaking out of my shell and all this stuff when I was that age. So trying to grasp like who you are as an artist at that point, really, really, really hard. So I would give her grace. But also, if she wants to have the career that I think she can have, she needs to figure it out fast.
Yep. Well, I think that there is a very clear lack of attention span happening with fans right now. Just in general, there's good music has come out this year, but nothing can stay in public consciousness for longer than like 2 weeks at this point, which is frustrating. We used to have proper eras, especially with pop music, right? We used to have years long. The only one who's really been able to do it successfully recently is Charlie, with the Brat 100%. Era.
That's it.
And she's really killed that. I wish more people would take note. But all that being said, I'm not really returning too much to a lot of the music that's come out this year, despite liking quite a bit of it. I just find myself not super excited about it because there isn't really much buzz. I generally rely on buzz and new music video drops and interviews and performances to kind of keep me going, and because there hasn't really been that this year, I haven't really returned a whole lot to the products that I have liked. So what, are you the same way? And if so, what have you been listening to?
I'm in the same boat, honestly. Lately I have been listening to primarily podcasts and not music. Okay. We'll talk about this a bit at the end with what's sparking joy, because I know we both have some TV shows that we've just been really into. It's been a phenomenal year for TV, and I've been listening to a lot of TV recaps and deep dives and stuff.
Okay.
Because of the lack of music to listen to. I mean, I have revisited a couple things. I still really like that Joe album. And I still really like Mayhem. And that's kind of it in terms of like things I've gone back to. But I've really, really, really struggled to figure out, okay, this is what I want to listen to right now. Like,
I know
every time I dive into Spotify, it's kind of like I'm looking for something, but I don't know what I'm looking for. And even if I find something, I'm like, it's not quite what I want. It's like, it's close to it. So it's been
like
tough.
I'm fully satisfied.
Right. And it feels like we're on the front lines in terms of discovery versus letting the internet kind of feed us a little bit. It's hard when you're like trying to look out there and be like, what's catching on?
Yes.
And it seems like nothing.
Nothing's happening. So for me personally, I also have been listening to a lot of podcasts and even some audiobooks and stuff. But what I have been doing with my time, craving good music, is I'm trying my best to go back to my blind spots. As a pop music lover, I really didn't. I was talking to Hunter about this the other day. My journey with pop music, despite it being like my number one passion in life, really started in like 2011. Like that's when it really clicked, because obviously we've talked about how we didn't really listen to a whole lot of pop growing up. And it wasn't until you got a car and started driving us to school that we actually listened to pop radio. So that was kind of where it started for me. So like a lot of the stuff from like the 2000s, the 90s, I missed a lot of it because I just wasn't listening to it. So all that being said, I just did so much fun. Like I had the time of my life doing a huge deep dive into the catalog of Britney Spears. And I got inspired by, have you ever heard of the podcast Pop Pantheon?
Heard of it, never listened.
Okay. So it's a really great podcast. Shout out to them. They basically take all of the pop stars that have ever been and rank them in the official pop pantheon, quote unquote.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And they have like different tier lists for how they categorize where these pop stars in terms of their public persona place. And earlier this year, they did a 5-part Britney Spears series because she's such a rich text that it took 5 parts for them to really get to it all. And I saw that they had posted that, and I was like, oh, that sounds really fun. But I know nothing of Britney Spears' catalog. I know the main singles, and that's it. And I said, you know what? Nothing's happening in music. I might as well do this.
Do it. Yeah.
Because I constantly see people raving about Blackout. Everybody always talks about Blackout, how that's her best album, revolutionary for pop music. And so I went to go press play on Blackout, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it all. So I went back to the beginning, Baby One More Time, hit play, and I would listen to the albums, and then I would come to a stopping point, and then I would go listen to the Pop Pantheon episode about it. Then I would go listen to the next two, go listen to the episode. And so I got the music and the context at the same time and had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. Britney's got some incredible bangers that are in her catalog that I had never heard before. And also probably the most tragic figure in pop music history, like just a horrifyingly sad story. And I capped it all off by listening to her book that she released a few years ago. So that was really fun. So I did that. I've closed that chapter, although I saved a bunch of the music that I'll get to enjoy forever. But I think I'm wanting to go back and do Madonna now. I think she's the next on my list.
Ooh,
so I
started
off with the Princess of Pop, and I think I'm going to go back and do the Queen of Pop. So yeah.
Love
so
it.
that's been keeping me energized while we have nothing to look forward to in music.
Honestly, what you just described is one of my favorite things to do, which is just like do the most deep dive on a topic I just got interested in. And like, I what I love about the modern era in terms of entertainment is that there are these super niche podcasts to listen to, like about any topic, and you can just really like go in deep. Yes, the trade-off is we don't have like a monoculture anymore to pay attention to, but that is really fun.
It's so fun.
And I don't want that to go anywhere because it is so cool to have hyper specific entertainment for like whatever interest that you have.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible.
And what I'm doing specifically, I'm learning about a time where there was monoculture. So it it allows me to kind of fantasize about getting that time back.
It's fascinating.
It was really fun. But so yeah, anyways, I just wanted to shout that out because I had such a blast doing that, and I think I'm going to continue doing that with other artists too. So
for sure. And honestly, I think this is going to be a perfect segue into talking about the song of the summer, because I have a bold prediction for the song of the summer.
Okay.
And that is that I don't think the song of this summer will be from this year.
Interesting.
I think we have reached a point in music where it's a flat line now. And people's experience of music is like, I listen to ABBA and also Megadeth and also Sabrina Carpenter.
Right.
Because there is no rules anymore. Like you just like find a song that you like and add it to a playlist. So I think in the way that Hot to Go was kind of one of the songs of last year's summer. Now, last year was an embarrassment of riches. But I think it's possible that we get a song from 8, 10, 20, 50 years ago that could be the song of the summer this year randomly because of it plays on a TV show and people really get into it, or it's a TikTok trend or something like that.
Well, do you remember 2022 with Running Up That Hill because of Stranger Things?
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of that.
For sure.
So I think you could definitely be right. I mean, something could come on one of these shows that really blows up. TikTok trends, you can never predict what music is going to take off there. So yeah, that's a good prediction, because honestly, I'm not seeing anything from this year that really could stand a chance as Song of the Summer. And yeah, when you've got the entire music catalog of all time at the touch of a button, it's like, what do we all gravitate towards? We don't, right? No one's listening to radio anymore. That used to decide the Song of the Summer. The radio
exactly.
So we don't have that anymore.
It's a different era now, and we can jump into the summer slate here in a second, but there's not a ton of obvious stuff that's coming out that I'm like, that has a good shot. I mean, I would say we should briefly talk about Lorde here, because of everyone that's dropped recently, what was that made the most noise in terms of my friends texting me about it?
Okay.
People seem to be listening. I have seen some dialogue online about it.
Yes, me too.
But I really think this is a situation where she's going to have to nail the second single, because I'm worried otherwise this becomes radical optimism.
Yes, that would be really devastating. I hope that does not happen, and I trust Lorde that will not happen. Although Lorde's been doing some interviews, and Lorde's always been weird.
Yeah.
But she's been saying some crazy shit on interviews, and one of the things she said was during this writing process, she tried not to be that deep. She was like, I didn't really try that hard to make the lyrics super deep or profound. I just kind of wrote. And I'm like, okay, that either means it's going to be like super raw and honest and fantastic, or it's like basic. And I don't want it to be basic because like part of Lord's thing is like that she is really deep and melancholy.
Yeah.
So that comment worried me a little bit, but I don't feel that way about what was that at all. Like what
I
was
don't
that
either.
Feels pretty deep to me.
And I think this is interesting. She's so good at wordplay in the same way that Taylor Swift is, where it's like the lyrics themselves are difficult and interesting, even if they are surface level, so to speak. So that's what I'm not worried. I'm not worried about being disinterested with the lyrics because like the rhyme scheme of the chorus of What Was That is so intricate and fascinating. And I'm not worried about her letting that slip, even if she's like not trying to like mine her soul, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that she could lose that even if she was trying to.
No, that's just her way of writing songs.
Yep, I agree. So I think it'll be good. I'm excited about the producers on it, and yeah, I'm really hopeful. I know that the tour was just like crazy selling out, so I think people are excited about it.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think there could whatever the second single is. I think What Was That probably came and went in terms of general consciousness a little bit too soon.
I agree.
But whatever that second single is, I think has a shot if she nails it and markets it. Markets it right.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, the marketing wasn't very good for What Was That, and maybe it was just let's see what happens when we just drop this Lord single. And then we'll see what kind of marketing push we need to do. Not my favorite approach. I don't like reacting. I just don't think that's the right way to approach it. But
I don't either.
You know, I get it. The industry has no money right now. I mean, this is the problem with film and TV too. The streaming model of everything has just changed the economics of all these industries. And now it's like the marketing money that these labels used to have has all dried up. And I think if they're unsure about a product, they're just going to be like, here.
Yeah.
Until people tell them what they want. And that's really unfortunate, but I also understand it. Because
I also think they don't have any marketing strategies anymore. Because
no, they don't.
It's so ever changing that what they used to do does not work anymore. Yeah, and I think they're just because like you don't really need a label anymore. You can just do it all yourself, literally from your bedroom. So I think labels are really struggling on how to fit into this new mold of the internet and TikTok and all that stuff. That it makes it, there's just so many superstars that there's no superstars.
Yeah. Interestingly, I was seeing that labels are becoming more popular among artists again.
Interesting.
So I'm thinking the dynamics have changed a little bit in terms of artists are signing more artist-friendly deals now with labels because labels have figured out that the only way to attract artists back is to give them more of what they want.
Yep.
And so I think we may see a trend change soon, but you're right. The world changes so fast.
Yeah,
I mean, not even to mention the rise of AI and what that's going to do to disrupt the industry and how people are going to safeguard against that. It's just it's a scary time. But I do think that labels will end up having a little bit more money and a little bit more influence again in the near future. It'll just look a little bit different than it used to.
Yeah.
Should we get to the summer music preview then?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. What's coming out this year?
Okay, great.
I got my list pulled up here. So there's a few really cool things coming out over the summer. Obviously, we just got an Ali and AJ drop earlier this month. I have not listened to it. You have listened to it, but was not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, I will mention there's a few songs that I really enjoy. I've already talked about What It Feels Like. I really like that song.
Yeah.
I like the song right after it on the album, which I'm totally forgetting the name of right now. And I really like Lasso towards the end of the album. I think those songs are really great. I think the album as a whole in terms of songwriting is a mixed bag. There's a lot that just didn't do it for me. My biggest problem with this album, and I don't know if I'm crazy. Anyone else that's like an audio engineer or something, please out there, or just like knows a little bit about the back end of music making. I feel like this album has some weird resonances and like the low mids, and it drives me absolutely insane. I was in my car the other day trying to listen to it, and I ended up just ducking down on my manual EQ at like 250 hertz and just like ducked it down, and all of a sudden it was just so much more listenable. So I don't really know what happened here. And I don't know if it's just like my car stereo is being wacky or something like that. I really need to listen on some nice headphones and try this again because it's really confusing me. But yeah, it was super distracting. So I can't think of an album where I felt that way recently. And I mean, they're going for a more vintage sound. Like the sound of it is very much like not even modern recording techniques. Like it just feels old school, which is fine. But like we've just gotten used to the way that music sounds now. And I think you can emulate that a la like what Phineas did with his album without losing what we've learned from modern recording techniques.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I know that's a really, really weird nitpicky thing. Like I want to support Ali and AJ. Sarah actually just bought tickets this morning for their LA show. But cool. I don't know. I had some weird criticisms of it.
That's weird. Well, I listened to Maren Morris dropped an album this month as well.
Oh, cool.
This was her first big kind of splash into pop. Fully pop album. I thought it was partially successful. I think she still has one foot in the door of Nashville and is struggling to figure out an identity outside of country, because a lot of this sounds like a country artist trying to do pop, except for the few moments that are just like full on pop bangers, right? She actually worked a lot with Muna on this, which I had no idea.
Wow. Okay.
So Naomi and Josette produced one song, and then Naomi produced it, but they both wrote on it. And then another song, all three of them wrote and Naomi produced it. So
wow.
That was really cool to see. And those were immediately my favorites. And I was like, wow, shocker. The ones Muna worked on were my favorites. So the times where she really let herself go full pop, I thought were super successful, but the rest of the album was kind of one foot in, one foot out. And I didn't love that. So
yeah,
we'll see where it goes from here. Later this month, we have Music for People Who Believe in Love by Joe Jonas, which was originally slated for last year, but then got moved for some reason.
Yeah, 6 months. It was the November release.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone cares anymore, but we'll see. The big one, I think the big blockbuster this summer is going to be Miley Cyrus's Something Beautiful, the visual album that will drop at the end of May. This is an interesting one for me because I actually think End of the World, the first official single from this, is a good enough song to be a potential song of the summer, but has made absolutely no noise and people just are not listening to it. And I find that interesting because it has kind of that lighthearted feeling that Flowers had. Whereas Flowers was like the biggest song in the world, no one's listening to End of the World. So not sure what's happening there. I guess Spotify did a listening party for a lot of like music influencers who went to go see the visual album early and got to interact with Miley a little bit. And I've heard a lot of really positive feedback from those listening sessions. So nice. We'll see. I'm keeping an open mind.
It's a very much 50-50 project for me in terms of what I've heard so far.
Agreed. It could be really awesome. It could be a huge flop.
A flop.
So
yeah,
we'll see. John Bellion is dropping at the beginning of June. Very excited for that. The singles have been great, except he did one with Pharrell that I think is whack.
I still have not heard that.
It's weird. I don't like it at all. But
so fair.
Cynthia Erivo is dropping an album in June. We'll see how that goes. I don't know that I care about Cynthia Erivo on like pop music.
No, I think it's probably going to be like adult contemporary, right?
I bet it will be too. Yeah.
It could be good.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a great voice, so
we'll see. Probably the one I am most excited for this summer is I Quit by Haim, which is dropping at the end of June. Very excited for that. I've loved every single so far. So I'm quite excited for that. And they've had some really fun music videos. It just seems like a fun era for them. So excited for that. Benson Boone is also dropping the same day as Haim. Okay.
Yeah,
that'll drop. And And then Virgin by Lorde, I guess, is the other big one that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, obviously that's the one I have circled this
That's
summer.
number one. Sorry.
We'll surely do a deep dive. We'll probably do a deep dive on Miley too. So
yeah,
there's at least some albums coming out that are like they're going to demand enough attention that we can do a deep dive on. So
yes, thank God. All right, and then going into July, there's like nothing except for Kesha is dropping an album called Period, and it's literally just
a dot.
It's just a dot. It's like the worst name for an album I've ever seen in my life. Like whatever.
It's like they learned all the wrong lessons from Brat. That's what. Like
seriously, it's from a marketing perspective. The name of this album is a nightmare. I just can't.
Only Ed Sheeran could get away with that shit.
Yeah, right?
Only him.
Only he can do symbols. And then Wet Leg is also dropping in July as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Okay, moving into August, Ethel Cain is dropping an album titled "Will It Be Tucker? I'll Always Love You." So there you go.
There's that on that.
Ava Max is releasing an album titled "Don't Click Play." Not even a month before Ed Sheeran is dropping an album titled "Play," which is really funny.
Shout out Ava Max for rejecting Woman's World. That was a smart move by her.
For sure. For sure. Leve is releasing an album called A Matter of Time, dropping end of August. That was just announced.
For the plebs, can you spell out that name?
Yeah, it's spelled Laufey. I originally thought it was Laufey, but it's pronounced Leve.
So when we say that, we're talking about that artist because I'm sure a lot of you have seen that name printed and had no idea how to say it, like me. So
for sure. Wolf Alice, cool indie band, is dropping their album The Clearing end of August. That was also just announced.
If you've never heard Don't Delete the Kisses, that's a mod. Like you just have to listen to that song. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then September, I only have two written down. Play by Ed Sheeran obviously will be a big one that we'll talk about. And then That's Showbiz Baby by Jade from Little Mix. So I've actually quite liked the singles she's released so far. So I'm looking for it. Did I say Addison Rae? Did I skip Addison Rae?
We missed Addison Rae. I feel like we didn't highlight that one.
Addison Rae is one of the ones I'm most excited about. I'm not going to lie to you. June. Beginning of June.
Okay.
And the album cover is like, think of like Metamorphosis by Hilary Duff or like Taylor Swift debut album.
Yeah.
It's like graphic design is my passion kind of thing, like that the 2000s was loving. That's what the album cover looks like. And I'm like, oh, we're so back. Yes, please give it to me immediately. I listened to all 4 singles the other day and I was like, Addison Rae is kind of doing the damn thing. Like
she kind of is. It's at least creative and has a viewpoint.
Exactly.
I will say that. It may not be entirely my cup of tea, but it's a cup of tea.
It's very much giving like Ray of Light, Madonna, In the Zone era Britney. Like it's just a fun, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm not going to lie. I think it'll be cool. So there you go. That's kind of the look ahead for the summer. But yeah, looking at the summer slots here, I think you could be right that the song of the summer will not be from this year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of those artists. Who do we think has a shot? I think Lorde has a chance.
Lorde. I think Miley has a chance.
I think if Ed Sheeran puts out a single in June from this upcoming album, maybe. Yep. Yeah. But he might just be a little bit too cringe at this point for some people.
Yeah, I think people don't take him seriously.
Even though I have heard some positive reaction out of him. So.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. He did release Old Phone recently, which is really good.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, go listen to that one. It's really good. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. It's not that inspiring in terms of releases.
No, it's really not.
It's a little tough.
I'm not thrilled. But hopefully one of them will come out and surprise me. Who knows? Cynthia Erivo could blow us away.
Maybe she's the next Adele. Who knows?
She could be.
Did you see, by the way, that she and Ariana are doing Wicked Live?
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing.
That's the most incredible promotional technique for a movie that I've ever seen.
They're not like doing the show. Like,
are they not?
No, I think it's just like a concert.
Okay, well, still sick. Still
amazing.
If it's like the 10th anniversary of Les Mis.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the vibe I'm getting.
That would be incredible. Oh my god!
But it's coming out before the second movie, so I don't know how much they'll do from the second half. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Why wouldn't? I mean, they probably won't do any of the new songs from the written for the movie, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did For Good and
I'm sure they'll do
No
for
one-
good.
Yeah.
And I
some
kind
of
of
the
want to
others.
wait to watch it until after I see the second movie.
I
'Cause
mean, kind of, yeah.
I kind of don't want to get like,
I don't want to hear their vocal choices.
I
and
don't want to
stuff.
hear No Good Deed before I hear No Good Deed.
No, me neither. Me
Like
neither.
I need to hear that.
It's going to be cinema.
with popcorn in my hand.
Honestly, thank God we're getting Wicked for good this year because like movies
Also flopping.
also flopping.
What are movies?
So complete tangent here, but we went the other night on Wednesday night to go see Ma. It re-released in theaters for halfway to Halloween. Listen, okay, this is our friend Taylor's like favorite movie in the entire world. Okay,
You're joking.
No, okay, so we went to go see this movie. I have never seen the whole thing. I have seen bits and pieces of it. First of all, can I just say, is this movie good? Not actually, but is it more fun than anything I've seen in like the last decade on screen? Probably. Like Octavia Spencer. It gives an Oscar-worthy performance in an absolutely absurd movie, and
That's so funny.
I'm just when I'm watching movies now, I'm like, I don't need you all to be Oscar-worthy. I need you guys to be fun, enjoyable,
Entertain me.
Yes. Where has that gone? There just aren't fun movies anymore. Everything is like the 90th entry into the franchise, or
Yes.
it's a weird indie movie that's half claymation.
Yes. Where are the
know what I mean?
blockbusters? Give me like good, fun blockbusters that aren't Marvel. Like
Or Jurassic whatever,
or Star Wars
or Star like
where is like just like the fun, like that's
I just
why I
want to
really
go see
liked,
a movie.
that's why I really liked the Keke Palmer and SZA movie. Like
Oh,
that,
yeah, so I
that
still have to
felt
see it.
like that kind of thing. Yeah, but we're just not getting a ton of that anymore. It
Oh,
sucks.
it's just dreadful.
Yeah.
So anyway, shout out Ma for being just a great ass time. Some of the lines in that
I
movie
love
are
that.
just so stilted and ridiculous that it's just like, who wrote this? But incredible. Like when they're delivered, it's a bit like when you're watching The Room. Like you're like, oh hi Mark. I mean, like some of it, it's just it's pure camp.
I've never
Anyway,
seen it, but I love the memes from it.
highly recommend. Highly recommend. It is so
Okay.
fun. It's
Okay,
unhinged.
cool.
Okay. Anyway, back to what we were doing.
Yeah.
Why don't we segue into these 10 out of 10 albums that we got? So you want to dive into that?
Absolutely. So a couple days ago on our socials, I reached out and posed the question, what are your 10 out of 10 no skip, fully fleshed out artistic statement albums that go in the canon for you as like in your top 5 of all time? The ones that are untouchable. If you had to pick those, what would they be? And we actually got a lot of great feedback, a lot of comments. So thank you to everybody who commented on our posts. If you
Much appreciated.
If you missed those posts, go follow us on our socials. On Instagram, we're at the Daily Record Spin _podcast. On TikTok, we're just the Daily Record Spin. Or you can email us at thedailyrecordspin@gmail.com. You can participate that way. But yeah, we got a lot of really great responses, and I curated a list here. Listen, there were a lot of albums that were real niche that we have not heard, as well as some more popular ones that we also have not heard. So we definitely have a to-do list for sure. But we compiled a list of all the ones that we have heard at least enough of to talk about. And we are going to go through each one of these and decide, do we agree? Is it a 10 out of 10 album? Would we put it in like an all-timer status, or is it just kind of another project? So are we ready to dive in and do that?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. Should we just start with Taylor and get the Taylor ones out of the way?
Yeah,
'Cause
we had
got
so many Taylor Swift albums.
We
which
got
fair.
a lot of
She's
Taylor
won
Swift. Yeah.
one
To
album
be
a year 4
expected.
times. Yeah.
Yes, totally to be expected that we got a lot of feedback from Taylor. But we got, I think, just about every album from her later career. So I think we got Reputation, 1989, Folklore, Evermore. And I think actually that's it. I think those are all of them.
Okay. The
It was
only
a
one
lot
I
of
would
Folklore. Folklore
Only
got
one
like
I'd
a
have-
million comments.
Folklore is a 10 out of 10 album. I think the only one I have qualms with putting up there is Reputation. That's not a complete album for me, but
Not a 10 out of 10 for
yeah,
sure.
The other
Absolute bangers,
three,
but no.
sure.
Yeah, I see an argument for all three of those. For
Honestly,
1989
like
Folklore
I think
and Evermore.
Evermore's like a 9 out of 10, except it's like
Okay.
my favorite. I know that's stupid. It's a weird.
No, that's
thing to say.
exactly how I feel. Like I think
Okay,
Folklore
okay.
is objectively a probably better album, but Evermore
Yeah.
is like my girl.
There you go.
So
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
completely
We're
with
agree
you.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I would say 1989 definitely a case for 10 out of 10. Reputation, I would give like probably like a 6 or 7. That's probably where I would put it. So sorry to all the rep people. I hate to come for the rep people because the rep people are a different breed. Like
They are.
kudos to
They
y'all.
sure are.
Respect. I'm not one of you, but I do love so many songs on Reputation. Okay. Next up in the list is In the Zone by Britney Spears, which again I have just heard for like the first time like a week ago. So I can't I'm not gonna say that my opinion is the be all end all. In the Zone is one of my favorite Britney albums for sure.
Okay.
For sure. If I had to pick a Britney album, I'm going with her third album, self-titled Britney, which like nobody talks about, but that shit is banger after banger after banger.
What are the big singles from that one?
The big single from Britney was "Slave for You." I'm a slave for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But In the Zone, the big singles from that are "Me Against the Music" with Madonna, and probably Britney's best song ever, "Toxic," is on this album. In the Zone. So here's my thing with In the Zone. Good. This was like a reinvention for her, at least quasi. I would say if you're going like full reinvention, that's going to be Blackout, which is directly after this. In the Zone, I think was her starting to say, I'm an adult, right? And I'm going to like make an artistic vision here. And so that's why this often gets lauded as one of her best. It's inconsistent though. There's some stuff on here that is really bad, like really, really bad. I'm talking.
Is it kind of Red-esque in that way, where it's like a transition album?
No, I wouldn't call it Red because it doesn't feel like we're trying out a million things and seeing what sticks.
I see.
I do feel like there's a fully fleshed out vision here on In the Zone, but some of it does not work for me. There's the song she does with the Yin Yang Twins that is terrible, and it's called I Got That Boom Boom. It's really bad.
I think I've heard that song.
There's a song called Outrageous that was written and produced by R. Kelly.
Bury it.
So that one is not good. And it's not even just because it's R. Kelly. I just genuinely don't like that. However, Toxic is on this album. Okay. That is like one of the best pop songs ever made. There's a song called Showdown that I love. There's a song called Breathe on Me that I freaking love. There's a song called Touch of My Hand that is like total 10 out of 10. So I think In the Zone, I would probably give like an 8, maybe 8.5.
Okay.
There's like 3 like strong skips for me, and the rest of the album is great.
Yeah, if it's got strong skips, I can't do a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and they're not just skips; they're like strong. Like I never want to hear this again. Kind of skips. So
tough.
All right. Up next is B-Day by Beyonce. Have you heard B-Day in full?
No.
Picture the loudest album you can possibly think of. That is B-Day. She is just yelling at you for like 50 minutes. And it is probably the most exhausted I've ever been listening to an album. Listen, and that's not me putting this album down because there is obviously incredible stuff on here. Yeah. Deja Vu is an incredible song. Get Me Bodied is awesome. Ring the Alarm, I love. Irreplaceable is on this album as well, which is a great Beyonce song. So I would say B-Day is not one of my favorite Beyonce projects, but I do know that there is a B-Day hive that loves this album. This is probably like a 7 for me.
Okay. Is that first album or second album?
That's her second.
Okay. I know Sasha Fierce and 4 pretty well, but that one is not one. The first 2 I don't know very well.
Yeah.
So
Up next on our list is and I think I'll hit both Miley albums that were commented. We got Plastic Hearts and Bangers. Where are you at with Plastic Hearts and Bangers?
Bangers is a no for me. That's just I don't like it. I just do not like it.
I don't either.
Plastic Hearts, I think I understand why people have it as a 10 out of 10 album.
Yes.
Because for a certain type of vibe, it is very good. Mm-hmm. It's just not for me. I think it's just like a 7 or an 8 for me, max.
Yep. You and I are on the same page with this. I think Plastic Hearts, the kind of glam rock stuff she was doing on that fits her so well, but I don't feel like the album was super consistent for me. And really it just didn't do a whole lot for me, despite that sound working really well for her. Midnight Sky, however, is fantastic. What a great song. Yeah. As far as Bangers goes, I cannot with that album. I love the singles from it. Wrecking Ball is
This
a
our
jam.
party, we can do what we want.
Incredible. We
This-
Can't Stop is 10 out of 10. I love that
Iconic.
song.
So is Wrecking Ball. I used to do that for karaoke. That's
Yes.
an incredible song.
It's such a great song. But this is like it's practically an album before doing blackface, right? Like it's really bad.
It's tough, dude. This is
It's
like the
like-
beginning of the black scent stuff.
Oh god, it's bad.
This
Yeah,
was
it's
such
really-
a trend in our culture that we need to remember.
Yeah.
We can't forget the blackface era. Aquafina,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh god.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
It's just offensive. I find bangers just like ooh. I
It's
find
tough.
it icky. But
It's
you know,
tough.
there's good stuff on there. But as an album, it's like a 2. I can't with bangers. Okay. We got Heard It in a Past Life by Maggie Rogers. Maggie Rogers' debut album. This is pretty close for me. This is probably like an 8.5 or a 9 for me.
That's exactly where I land on this, but I'll give it a 10 because it's I'll give that person a 10. Like I'll give it to them because
Yes,
it's still
100%.
my favorite Maggie album. So I think
Yes,
yeah,
me
fair.
too. Me too. Yeah, I love the sounds she was making on that album. Sam Smith in The Lonely Hour is not a 10 out of 10 for me.
Have not listened. Cannot.
I haven't listened to the whole thing, but Sam Smith has done it for me exactly one time, and it was
Oh.
before he released an album. Oh, excuse me. They.
Yeah, two
Right.
times for me. 2 times for me. Also, but before they released an album.
Well, I'm talking about one era of their music. I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about Latch and
and
La La
Latch.
La.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it.
Those are the two.
Before
When
they just
were in
became
that era-
sleepy, like, yeah, just tough.
Yep, totally. I love
Who's the other
voice,
guy that has
but
the
it's just
same
nowhere.
the I can't think of the song.
Did you just say-
"Won't let go"? Who's that guy?
Oh, what is that guy's name?
I forget. They're in the
I don't
same
know.
world.
Yeah, you're
They're,
so right.
they're really right. Like kind of sleepy. I actually like that song too. It's like Sam. I don't know.
It's like Sam.
I don't remember.
I'm dead.
I'm gonna look this up.
no.
But yeah, they're in the same world for me, those two. And
Yeah.
that guy's writing a bunch of music for other artists now, and I'm like, do we need that guy?
Yeah, probably not. No, but I agree with you. It's sleepy. I don't care for the ballad Sam Smith at all, and that's kind of this whole
Oh,
album.
James Arthur. This is
James Arthur. Word.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I believed for a little bit a conspiracy theory that Sam Smith was just Adele. Well, I guess
this is one of my
rather,
this.
Adele is Sam Smith in drag.
It's
I love
my
that conspiracy.
second favorite music related conspiracy theory. Obviously,
Is
the
your
fact
first
that
that
Avril
Avril Lavigne
Lavigne
is dead?
Yeah, is dead.
My favorite.
It's
I
not
love that
only
one.
true, but also my favorite. And then the Sam Smith Adele thing is wild. Like, go watch videos of their music sped up and
It
slowed
really
down. It's pretty
really
crazy.
It is crazy. I love that conspiracy theory. Yeah, Sam Smith doesn't do it for me, but respect. Next up is Stick Season by Noah Kahn. Have you heard Stick Season?
No, I have not listened to the whole thing.
I love Noah Kahn, one of the only men
Yeah.
in music who's allowed to.
So does
make
every
music.
white girl under 30.
That's correct. Yeah. And you know what? I'm here for it. Stick Season, however, is a very inconsistent album for me. I think it's very
Okay.
top heavy. The
Okay.
first half of the album, banger after banger after banger, absolutely incredible. And then it kind of fades off for me. There's some stuff like Orange Juice and there's one called like Strawberry Wine or something like that. There's some kind of boring stuff towards the end, but the
Okay.
ones that do hit for me hit. So not a 10, but I think there probably was a 10 out of 10 album in there somewhere if he condensed it.
Sure. Okay.
That's where I'm at.
SOS.
Yeah. SOS. Huh?
This is the album.
SZA. Yep. Oh,
Same comparison.
yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Okay. We got a comment of Third Eye Blind, but I don't remember what the album was. It's
I think it was
escaping
their
me.
self-titled, I want to say.
Okay.
Which is objectively just a
Yes, that's what it was. It was their self-titled.
phenomenal album. Yeah, not much to say about that one other than I agree. Like that's
Okay.
just
Cool.
that's got do, 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 on it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Semi-Term Life.
Yes. Mhm.
In addition, I think wish you would get out of that ledge, my friend. I will understand. I think that one's on there too.
Oh, that's a good song.
Great stuff. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
great album, great bands. Miss them.
Yeah,
They had a very short-lived moment in the spotlight, but they made it count. I will say
for sure. Up next is Control by SZA, which I think
10.
we know where I land on that, but I know that that's definitely
that's
10
a 10
for
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
My husband Hunter commented the best comment out of all this, which is Golden Hour by Casey
Yep.
Musgraves. And
11,
he's exactly
actually.
correct. Yeah, it's actually a 14 out of 10. So
Yeah, it really is.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Not only are there no skips, but every song could be the best song.
That's correct. Except for Velvet Elvis.
Okay, I can't call Velvet Elvis the best song, but it's also not even close to mediocre.
No, it's not a bad
good,
song.
It's a good song.
It's just comparatively.
Yeah.
Next one, also objectively correct, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
a million times yes. One of the most popular and best-selling albums of all time. Undeniable. The Chain is just stupid, crazy good. Okay. Anyways, Rumors, fantastic. Somebody put Chromatica by Lady Gaga, which I thought was such an odd choice.
For sure.
If we're gonna put a Lady Gaga album, we're going with Chromatica for a 10 out of 10. And I love Chromatica, but it's not a 10 out of 10 for sure, right?
I mean, I guess if you're like going to the club every weekend and like doing poppers and stuff, then yeah, maybe.
You're not allowed to joke about poppers. Get out of here. Oh my god, I'm dead. No, like I said, I love Chromatica, but if I'm gonna do a 10 out of 10 Lady Gaga album, I'm going art pop.
Art pop, yeah.
Which I don't think is a 10 out of 10.
I agree. It's like a 9.
Yeah. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo was commented, and that's pretty close, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give that one a 9. Personally.
Yeah, but again, I would go with Guts. I would say Guts is a 10.
Well, Guts is a 10 for me.
Yeah, 100%. Me too.
I think Sour, you can make the argument though. So I'll allow
I do too. We'll allow it. We'll let it slide. The Great Impersonator by Halsey. Next
that's a no from me, dog. That's a quote, Randy Jackson.
Next is Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande, and that's again,
that's
have
a 10.
to agree. That's pretty close. Definitely her best album, and after the release of the deluxe tracks, I'd probably call this a 10 for sure.
I would like to use this moment to complain to all stores that sell vinyl.
Yes,
and to Ariana's team and her label that I cannot just buy the regular version of Eternal Sunshine anywhere.
Oh, you're kidding?
Anywhere.
It's gone.
I have been looking for over a year. I can only ever find the one with the alternate cover or now the deluxe version. I have never been able to find the original on vinyl, and it is driving me absolutely insane because that's the one I want.
I don't own the original cover because she released it with a million different covers.
I know.
And did not stick to one until it was released on streaming. So I had already pre-ordered the one where she's covering her eyes.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
So sorry, that's tough.
It's
that's tough.
It's very frustrating. I just want to point that out.
I agree. Blackout by Britney is next. Okay, here's my thing with Blackout. I think here's what I love about Blackout is that during the worst time of her life, which is like the 2007, we all remember Britney in 2007, the shaving the head, the smashing the paparazzi's car with the umbrella. When she was going through like the hardest time of her life, and she was going through some shit, she made probably the most like heavy artistic vision of her career, and she executive produced the entire thing. So I'm impressed by her involvement and her passion for music despite what she was going through. That's what I love about Blackout. The album itself for me is like, I love half of it probably is where I'm at. And the other half of it doesn't do a whole lot for me. There is a song called Piece of Me that I had never heard before. It was a single, but not a huge one. And you have to go listen to Piece of Me. It's so fantastic. It's kind of her narrative wrapped up in a bow. And it's such a great song. This is the album with Gimme More, if you remember that song.
I'm looking up the track list right now.
Gimme More, Gimme More. If you remember that. But
I don't. This is not an album of songs.
I can't believe you don't remember Gimme More. That's crazy.
I don't remember any of these songs.
Gimme More is the only one that I knew before going into it. For me, this is probably like a 7, but I understand as someone coming to it later, doing a deep dive of her career, in retrospect. I understand for people who were there, yes, I can totally understand how this is a 10 out of 10. This was her reinvention. This is when she went to go do the whole synth pop thing rather than the Max Martin thing. So yeah, I would say this is a fantastic pick and one that I see often, for sure.
Cool.
One Direction got a shout out with 4. I don't think One Direction has a single 10 out of 10 album, but they have some 10 out of 10 singles. That is faux show.
That's all they were focused on, though. So
yes, for sure. Fine Line by Harry Styles was submitted as a 10 out of 10 album.
It's like a 9 for me. 8 or 9.
It's probably like a 7 for me.
Okay, fair.
I'm a Harry's House guy, personally. But I do think there's obviously fantastic stuff on Fine Line.
Yeah, I think Harry's House you could give 10 out of 10. I would. But I would not.
I'd probably give that a 9.
Fine Line.
It's
actually not aged as well as I wanted to, so I'll give Harry's House a 9 as well. I think they're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, they're definitely close. I don't think Harry's made his 10 out of 10 yet. I think we're still waiting.
Yeah, he did win album of the year.
Well, yes, but
over
Renaissance. So we're not even going to talk about it. We got our funniest submission with the Mamma Mia soundtrack, which I just thought was awesome.
Incredible choice.
And you know what? Is it not a 10 out of 10?
If they're talking the London cast recording,
the London cast recording is the GOAT.
Unequivocally. If we're talking any other cast recording, I'll give them like an 8 or 9. Especially, I'm not going to listen to the movie one because Pierce Brosnan cannot sing.
Okay, listen, but
and SOS is one of my favorites.
Is really good.
It is, but the SOS is one of my top 5 songs from that entire show, and the fact that I can't listen to that version is tough.
That's wild of you. I don't think it's anywhere near my top 5 favorite songs.
Oh, get out of here! Go away.
That's crazy. Yeah, I love the movie soundtrack, but definitely the GOAT Mamma Mia soundtrack is the London cast recording.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So Close to What by Tate McRae. We just shouted that out earlier. Definitely not a 10 out of 10, but hey, I love it. I think there's bangers on it.
Yeah.
So
to each their own.
To each their own. We got Blue Lips by Tuve Lu. Have you heard Blue Lips in full?
Was that the second album with Cool Girl?
Nope, that's Ladywood. She's
yeah, Ladywood not good. I'm sorry.
Saying all these out loud is just hilarious.
Ladywood, that's a no.
Ladywood for me. Has bangers, but it's not great.
I mean, I like Cool Girl.
Blue Lips, I actually respect a lot. I don't love.
Okay, I never listened to Blue Lips,
but it's like a real. I don't know. Like she was doing her indie pop thing with that album, and I really like it. And I love Blue Lips has disco tits, doesn't it? Listen to me. What am I saying?
I'm still mad at her for releasing one of the best debut albums of all time, and then just like nothing even close to that ever again.
I know. I love Queen of the Clouds. That's still my favorite for sure. But yeah, but I do really like Blue Lips. So respect for that. Someone submitted Girl in My Dreams by Fletcher. I definitely don't agree. Girl in My Dreams has some good stuff, but it's not a full album for sure. Somebody put Brand New Eyes by Paramore. Could not agree more. 10 out of 10.
Shut up.
It's right here on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. For sure. I think their only not 10 out of 10 album is their debut album, personally. And even that's like not a 10.
I don't know that Riot is a 10 out of 10. I gotta be honest. I don't. It's so many singles.
It is so many singles. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Haley says that's their worst album. She's gone on record many times and said that.
I mean, the singles are peak, but everything, I mean, it's...
Yeah. Okay. Riot, we can give a 9. Fine.
Riot, I'll only give it a 9. I'm not dropping it lower than a 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Songs About Jane by Maroon 5, also on my wall currently.
Oh, phenomenal record.
10. Immediately 10.
What happened afterwards? Let's not speak of it. But
tragic.
Songs About Jane.
One of the saddest downfalls ever, because Songs About Jane is fantastic. What's Shiver? Is that what it's called?
Which one? Shiver. Oh yeah, Shiver.
Incredible song.
It's Harder to Breathe for me. Harder to Breathe is just like the biggest banger
song
in the whole world to me.
Yeah, so many bangers.
Is She Will Be Loved on that one too, or is that the next album?
It's escaping. I think it is. I know Sunday Morning is.
Yeah, Sunday Morning's on it. So is This Love. No, is it?
Yeah, This Love is on it. Yep.
Oh my God.
So many good songs. American Idiot by Green Day was shouted out.
Yeah, I mean, if you spawn a musical, you're probably a pretty good album. I just think I just remember what that did for the culture at that time. Like it was the loudest and most lasting critique of the Bush administration. It was just a huge record, and it had some all-timers singles from like Boulevard of Broken Dreams to Holiday. I mean, like there's just some great songs in there. Obviously the title track, just good stuff.
Yep.
And it took a punk band into the mainstream, which is always cool. You know?
Yeah, it is always cool. Definitely. You said you've heard Backcountry by Avenged Sevenfold.
I had a big Avenged Sevenfold phase in like early high school. My friends were super into them. So Backcountry, great album. It's probably like the heaviest thing I've ever enjoyed. I'm not the most into like heavy metal. At least that's not super melodic and like more screamo, which is what Avenged Sevenfold is. That's not true. They're very melodic, but they have a lot of screamo. So it's probably the heaviest thing I've ever been into, but I really like that album a lot. Yeah. So I get that.
The last one we got from TikTok that I can speak on, I should say, was Hybrid Theory and Meteora from Linkin Park. And yes.
No notes.
Well, yes.
Well, yes.
Well, yes. You're correct.
Wasn't Hybrid Theory our runner-up for best debut album ever? And our
it was.
Yeah. So go check out that pod if you haven't listened to that one. That was from last year. We did our best debut albums bracket, and then also segueing off this too, we did an episode with our friend Jacob Godby about 5 albums we can't live without from last year. So if you haven't listened to either of those would be fun ones to check out if you've liked this discussion.
Yeah, for sure. We did get a couple from Instagram too that I forgot to shout out, and the Instagram ones were good too. One of the first comments we got was, "There aren't any. No album is perfect," which I thought was an interesting
okay.
Like Debbie Downer, but also okay.
I mean, sure, in the extent that nothing is truly perfect. Okay,
right.
But like,
got some more 1989 folklore. Got Born to Die by Lana Del Rey. I can't speak on that. Future Nostalgia, I think is 9.5 probably.
It's a 10 for me. That's all decade list at this point.
Yeah,
for me.
One of my good friends said Paradise Valley by John Mayer.
I have
not be my pick for John.
So that is my second least favorite John Mayer album, and I would say I have met other people that it's like their favorite. So interesting. Yeah, not my thing, but you know, if you're loving on John Mayer, you're welcome at the table. So
she also said Midwest Princess, which is not a 10 for me.
I get it. I get it personally,
but the singles are 10s.
Yeah.
And then she said Cowboy Motherfucking Carter.
Yeah,
which is pretty damn close. So can't argue with that. The New Abnormal by The Strokes was a comment. Have you heard that one?
The New Abnormal. Interesting choice. Usually people are talking about the debut. The Stroke. Which one is that? The new. Oh, their 6th album. Yeah, I definitely have not heard this. This is from 2020.
Yeah, I remember the album.
I have to check that out.
Yeah. Deeper Well by Casey Musgraves was commented. Not a 10 for me. That would be Golden Hour, but love Deeper Well. Midnights was commented. I forgot Midnights was commented. Not a 10 for me, but bangers. Absolute bangers on there. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd was commented. And I am embarrassed to say that I have never heard this album, which is really bad.
Don't you own it?
I did at one point and I got rid of it.
Oh.
Because I never listened to it.
That's tough. You need to listen to that one. And The Wall. I feel like those are, you know.
Yeah, right.
I know classic rock isn't like your genre, but like there are certain goalposts that you need to like hit, I feel like.
Yep.
Which I get. You're doing more deep dive into pop than I've ever done, so congrats. But Dark Side of the Moon is a 10 out of 10 album. It was on the top 100 selling albums chart for over 30 years. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Need to
pretty sick.
My friend Zach commented the Interstellar soundtrack. The score for
no notes. No notes. Yeah. That's his magnum opus. So sure.
Yeah. And then last one I'll shout out is Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay, I'm not going to give it a 10, but cultural impact in this universe, sure.
For sure a 10. Yeah. There's 10 out of 10 songs on there, but I don't know that I would call the entire album a 10. It's probably like an 8.59 for me. So there we go. That's all the comments we got. But I mean,
Great.
we got tons more just with albums that I have not.
Yeah, we'll add them to our
Heard.
list though. So
So-
if you send in an album that you really liked and we didn't mention it here, just know it's on our list and we will eventually get to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, sorry.
But before we cap this off, do you want to shout out one 10 out of 10 album that maybe you haven't
that I
talked
haven't
about
previously talked about?
before? You might have, maybe you talked about it, but just haven't talked about it a ton, or
I'll shout out Only by the Night by Kings of Leon. That album meant a lot to me when I was like in middle school.
okay.
Yeah, I'm still desperately searching for it on vinyl. So if anyone has a hookup for Only by the Night, please shout me out. I really need to get that album. But this album had Sex on Fire and Use Somebody on it. Like this
yeah.
This was like their big pop moment, and it was one of the first albums I ever bought on CD. So it was always on rotation in my car, and just really love this record. So shout that one out.
Cool. I would say if I am going to shout out a 10 out of 10 album that I haven't talked about a whole lot is 5 Seconds Flat by Lizzie McAlpine.
Oh,
I
okay.
adore that record. I just think some of the smartest songwriting I've heard, and just so inventive and so much variety. I just love what she did on that. Obviously Melodrama is probably my go-to 10 out of 10 pop album.
Yeah.
And then my one that maybe people will think is funny, but I stand by until the day I die, is the Hamilton cast recording.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
It's one of the best musicals ever. So,
Yep.
Also, another one I just thought of that I think we would both have a 10 out of 10 on is Blurry Face by 21 Pilots.
Yes. Yep. I would
Another
actually go
phenomenal
Trench
album.
for 10 out of 10.
Over Blurry Face?
Yeah, for sure. I think Trench is their magnum opus.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. I do.
I much prefer Blurry Face, but
yeah.
I
I mean, they're
respect it.
both fantastic.
I love Morph. That is
Me too.
That is an incredible song.
Morph is so good. All right. Well, what is sparking joy for you?
Andor. I just wanted to talk about Andor for like 5 minutes. If my life's mission is to convince everyone on Earth to watch Andor, so be it.
Go for
I
it.
gladly
You have the
accept.
floor.
I gladly accept the quest. Okay, so I was like, we both were force-fed Star Wars as children. Our dad, cut class to watch the original in theaters. I remember being force-fed the original trilogy like before I was 3 years old. Like that was like, my dad was like, "You're watching this. This is you're not allowed to have an opinion." And like some of my earliest memories are just like pretending to be Luke Skywalker blowing up the Death Star in like my basement. Like that was like, like some of my earliest childhood memories. Obviously, the prequels all came out when we were kids, so we were very into those as well. We played Star Wars all the time in our backyard. Like, I mean, Star Wars is like the most important thing to me, and I have lost that love for it over the last decade and a half because there's just been so much content and a lot of it's not been good. The Rise of Skywalker really, really ruined my entire feelings about the entire franchise. I mean, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's terrible.
And Andor has not only reignited that love of Star Wars in me, but has also made me it's also become like one of my 4 favorite television shows of all time, regardless of Star Wars. Like it is. I just want to go back because neither of us love Rogue One. I want to say that off the bat. Neither of us are like Rogue One heads. And I know that is an element of the Star Wars fan base that really loves Rogue One. It never really worked for me. And in fact, they set up the final finale of the series so that it feeds right into Rogue One. So I rewatched it last night, and I do think it is quite improved by Andor. But it is still a very clunky movie, and I know it went through directorial changes and stuff like that. So I just want to get off the bat that it's like if you didn't love Rogue One, I don't think that will affect how you feel about Andor. It is just like an expertly written television show with deep characters that you're super invested in. The entire thing speaks to this current moment. It's all about rising up against fascism and how fascism like just is a trash compactor to everyone that is under it, including the people that allegedly benefit from it. Like it is just a phenomenal character study, theme study. Tony Gilroy, the creator of it, who ended up being essentially the director of Rogue One, like he came in to do reshoots, and then he's credited as a scriptwriter, and not the director, but he essentially directed that. He's the showrunner. He's had like a lifelong fascination with Revolution. and he's a history nerd. So he tried to put like every bit of information he learned over the years about how revolutions work into this show. And over the course of its 2 seasons, it reaches some highs that I just truly, genuinely did not know were possible, at least for Star Wars. And then beyond that, just like for TV in general. So I'm just like, there's been so much good TV this year. We've been utterly spoiled. Is like, it's like last year in music, what this year is in TV right now. But I think Andor is clearly the best, and I want everyone to watch it because it's just important that everyone watches it. Okay, end of my soapbox. Sorry.
So there you go. There you have it. Watch Andor. For me, it's Severance.
Yay! I'm so happy. This is my second favorite of the year. So.
Took forever for me to get started on Severance, just because like dramas are a really hard sell for me. Like to start. Like once I start them, I often love them, but they always just feel like such a huge commitment.
It's a commitment. Yeah.
And I'm so glad we started it. We blew through the first season in like a couple days, and we're on the second season now, and we're trying to savor it a little bit more. But we're leaving to go to Arizona tomorrow for a family vacation, and we'll probably watch some of it on the plane. But it's freaking fantastic. Like I can't believe how good it is. I knew
so good.
I knew what the plot was going into it, but I didn't realize like how much of a mindfuck it would be. Like,
it's so crazy.
It really has made me existential. Like every single episode, I'm like, oh my God. The twists and the turns, the suspense, like I'm often on the edge of my seat. Like my heart rate does not love me when I watch this show. The acting is phenomenal. A cast of a lot of people that I've never seen before, doing incredible work. Shout out to Kissing Kate Barlow from the movie Holes.
Yes, Patricia Arquette can do no wrong.
She's so good in this. But no, we absolutely love it, and we ended on a huge cliffhanger at the last episode we just watched. So I can't wait to get back into it. But highly recommend Severance if you have Apple TV. It's so good.
Absolutely. All right. So where can people find us on social media?
So like I said earlier, if you liked this episode and want to engage with us more, ask us questions. We'll do a mailbag eventually once we get enough questions to do a mailbag. But
this was kind of a mailbag today a little bit.
It was, for sure. Yeah. So if you have questions or even just comments or opinions on the things that we share on here, you can email us at thedailyrecordspin@gmail.com. Or get in touch with us on Instagram at @thedailyrecordspin_podcast or on our TikTok page at The Daily Record Spin. You can find us on any of those platforms. Please rate our podcast with 5 stars. It really helps us to grow. Drop a comment where you can. We're also on YouTube. I forgot to shout out our YouTube page, The Daily Record Spin, on there. Wherever you can engage with us and rate and subscribe, it really helps us to grow. So, yeah.
Yeah, much appreciated. I'm loving that we're getting comments now from randos on the internet. That's like our favorite thing in the entire world. So
me too.
Keep it up. We want to keep growing the community. So
definitely.
All right. We will be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll do one before we both go to Italy. So that'll be a fun time. But we'll hit you in a couple weeks with maybe a Miley deep dive. That might be the focus of the next one.
So the next big thing.
So yeah, we'll hit that coming up soon. And thank you for listening. We will see you next time on The Daily Record Spin.